Good evening. It is 6:00 p.m. We will start promptly on time. Welcome to winter, I guess, for a few days anyway. Call the meeting or call the roll, please.
Berglund,
Yes.
McCauley,
Yes.
Walling. Yes. Schott.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Need a motion to approve tonight's meeting agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion about the agenda? If not, call the roll, please.
Schott.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Berglund.
Yes.
McCauley.
Yes.
Walling. Yes.
Okay. Consent agenda, which includes tonight minutes of the November 15th regular city council meeting, minutes of the November 17th, 2021 work session, payments and contract services, including Bolton and Mink runway relocation in the amount of $38,424.15. Bolton and Mink airport engineering in the amount of $720. Bolton and Mink 2020 downtown improvements in the amount of $1,990.50. Bolton and Mink general municipal engineering in the amount of $11,480 for a total of $52,614.65. Tonight we have claims and registers and financials totaling $1,079,196.44. We have a number of licenses and permits tonight, including Evergreen Properties Investment LLC, doing business as Circle K Store, number 22654-124, 1115 141st Street, renewal of a Class E liquor license with Class C beer permit, Class B wine permit, and Sunday sales privilege. Also, Evergreen Properties Investment LLC, doing business as Circle K Store, number 22654-125, located at 1219 First Street, renewal of a Class E liquor license with Class C beer permit, Class B wine permit, and Sunday sales privilege. We have Perry Brew Enterprise LLC, doing business as Gamble Block Brewery, located at 1203 Second Street, new Class B beer permit with Sunday sales privilege with an effective date of December 1, 2021. The original application for a new Class B beer permit with special Class A beer permit and Sunday sales privilege was withdrawn, and the brewery instead applied for a Class A native beer permit. The Class A native beer permit allows for the manufacture and sale of beer to other retailers and beer wholesalers. This Class A native beer permit does not need city approval, only approval by the Iowa ABD. Also, TPT Enterprises LLC, doing business as the Tin Pig Tavern, 1201 Second Street, ownership update from Eugene Sheffer and Heather Sheffer to David Sheffer and Heather Sheffer. Police and fire inspections have been completed and are on file at City Hall. Need a motion to approve those items under the consent agenda?
So
We approve the consent agenda as stated.
second.
Any discussion about any of those items?
Just had a question. The Tin Pig, do they know when they're going to be?
What's that?
Does the Tin Pig know when they're going to be open?
I'm not sure when they're gonna reopen. Last I heard, they were, working hard in that endeavor, but I having trouble looking at some of the supplies and materials and stuff too, like so many people.
That was basically, yeah, they're having logistic supply issues and getting things open, but they're diligently working with it.
Yeah. So they're getting everything in place to be good to go.
Nobody wants it worse than they do. Any other discussion about the consent agenda items? If not, call the roll, please.
Walling. Yes. McCauley.
Yes.
Berglund.
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Okay, mayor council comments. I need Mike Fastenon to step up to the microphone, please. Tonight is bittersweet as I present this certificate of appreciation to my appreciation of dedicated and invaluable service rendered to the city of Perry. As we all know, Mike has been involved in our financial for the last number of years and played an integral, important part in much of the development and changes that are happening in the city of Perry. I say it's bittersweet because
come in and help with the city, and you all put a good, solid foundation together. This community is going to be well served in the future. Whoever is going to replace he or she's going to do an excellent job.
We all know Mike is the first person officially in this role of the city of Perry. Mike has laid a good foundation for everybody that follows in his footsteps. And we're going to visit him, and we're going to come back and finish up a few things, but Mike tells us he's really going to retire. So.
Sometime.
Thank you. Sometime, absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I don't think I really have any other comments. Council?
Just a couple things. One, unbeknownst to many people, there's a famous birthday today. Mr. Chuck Schott. I think he turns some.
Happy birthday.
I think he turned something like 53 today.
53, oh, I wish.
He followed mine by a few days. Mine was last Friday. But happy birthday, Chuck. Any other comments from?
Yeah, the other item I did have, I know there's been some concern from some people that like to use the rec center swimming pool. And John and Caleb have done their very best to resolve the situation on the weekends in particular. I think during the week it's worked pretty well, but on the weekends, we've had trouble getting lifeguards. And there's not all the time, but there's been gaps where people come up to swim on Saturday or Sunday and they're not unable to because we don't have a lifeguard. And I know they're working on some ideas, some incentives and so forth. And I did visit with them a little bit today. When I got home, I got to thinking about it a little bit too. And I think I'll talk to John a little bit tomorrow, but they have 12 lifeguards. And on Saturdays, if they kept it open from 1 to 5 and on Sunday, 1 to 5, if they have 12 lifeguards, if everybody agreed that they would cover one of those shifts from 1 to 5, it would only be 8 or 9 times during the entire year that they would have to do one of those 4-hour shifts on a Saturday or a Sunday. I think they should just get together as a team and say, yeah, we can do this. And if John gives them some incentives, I don't see why that wouldn't work. I mean, paying them more for a weekend shift, and you only have to do it 8 or 9 times during the entire year. I think we could do it. I know it'd make the public a lot happier because I know there's some families that like to come up on Sundays and other people on Saturdays. So,
And Doc, are we only required to have one lifeguard there at a time?
I believe so.
Yes.
So I don't know. I'll talk to John about it. It may be an idea that won't work, but I think it's worth looking at anyway.
Yeah, maybe more pay on the weekends too.
Well, I think if you just say, hey, we need everybody to do this, all 12 of you. If all 12 of you agree to take a shift when it's your turn,
So they don't work on the weekends at all?
some of them do and some of them don't. And if they have a conflict that comes up, a lot of times it doesn't get covered. So
I know Becky's had to come in and lifeguard several times.
yeah. Anyway, I think if they pull together as a team, they could do it.
Okay.
But it would take all 12 of them to say, yeah.
Because it's really important to have the consistency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That people can not wander and worry that they just know it's going to happen.
I know one guy was pretty upset. He had walked 1.5 miles to the rec center to go swimming and must not have seen the sign or whatever. He took a shower, he was all ready to jump in the pool. The pool's closed because there's no lifeguard. So he wasn't real happy. I know there's been some other people.
Well, at least he got a shower.
Sounds like something we should look at. Thanks, Doc. Sounds like something we need to look into. re-precincting boundaries. After the federal census, every 10 years, cities are required to determine if the existing boundaries comply with the current law. In order to comply with state law, the boundary lines for the ward/precincts have been drawn for the census blocks as required and as best fit to conform to the previously established boundaries while complying with the law. As part of the process, the city auditor has reviewed and proposed precincting map and provided no comments or concerns with their review. We will open this public hearing at 6:11 PM. Any discussion? Comments?
Well, I had maps, but technical difficulty. Did council have any questions on kind of what I provided?
It was in our packet, of course, yeah.
Yeah, the aerial, I kind of gave the aerial shot of where that precinct is changing, between that and the assessor's page. I'm gonna say roughly 9 properties are what are gonna see the change move from Ward 2 to Ward 3. In the other piece, the worksheet, I don't know if anybody reviewed the worksheet that I'll be sending to the state of Iowa, the Secretary of State. Ward 2 is light right now on population, but the overall thought is that will balance out with the expected development here in the next couple of years. So they'll kind of equal back out. So after the public hearing, the next step will be to do our ordinance readings. Once those are passed, I will turn everything over to the Secretary of State. They'll do a final review, and then once they give approval, then I'll publish it and it'll become law.
Okay,
And that has to be done by the end of next meeting to meet Secretary of State deadlines. They didn't give us much time this go around, so.
has to be done when?
The third and final reading would need to be done at the next meeting
Okay,
in order to meet their deadlines to have it to
So
them.
2 weeks.
Yep,
Yeah.
2 weeks.
okay.
Yep.
All right. Any other discussion or questions about the proposed boundaries? Okay, well, this is just a public hearing. Well, if there's no other discussion, we'll close the public hearing at 6:13 PM and move on to old business. Resolution accepting the Airport Rescue Grant Program from the FAA. The city of Perry, as an airport sponsor of the Perry Municipal Airport, submitted an application to the FAA for the Airport Rescue Grant Program per Resolution 100421E on November 10, 2021. The city was notified by the FAA that the city was awarded a grant from the Airport Rescue Grant Program for eligible costs up to a maximum of $32,000. This resolution accepts agreement 3-19-007-5-018-2022 and authorizes the city administrator for the city of Perry, Sven Peterson, to sign on behalf of the city of Perry the agreement and all other forms as necessary to execute the Airport Rescue Grant Program. Need a motion?
I move we pass a resolution accepting the airport rescue grant program.
And I'll second that.
Any discussion?
Good money.
If there's no discussion, call the roll, please.
Walling? Yes. Schott?
Yes.
Kirkland?
Yes.
McCauley?
Yes.
Klein?
Yes.
Okay. Next item, approval of pay application number 6 for the wastewater treatment facility improvements. Pay application number 6 in the amount of $479,245.05 to Woodruff Construction for the construction of the wastewater treatment facility improvements. To date, total payments requested for the by the contractor is 10% of the total amount of work to be completed under the contract. All documents have been reviewed and signed by the engineer and are recommended for approval. Need a motion to for this pay application?
I move that we approve pay application 6 in the amount of $479,245.05 for the wastewater treatment facility to Woodruff.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on the pay application number 6? If not, call the roll, please.
I was gonna say, Andrew could give a brief update if you wish him to do that.
Sure.
10% of the way done.
Andrew?
Hey, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Andrew, can you hear us? Go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. So this pay app number 6 is for work completed in the month of November. So they're about 10% dollar-wise through the project, and now we're about 20% time-wise under the contract. So they're a little behind. If you look at it that way, expect to see some higher dollar value pay apps coming here in the future. They said that they're getting a few more crews lined up to do more concrete work. So they're ramping up. They've been very busy excavating here this past week or two, getting more holes opened up to get base slabs installed and get the foundations in the ground and the walls coming up. So there's more stuff for people to work on out there. On this pay app, the primary items on it include piping materials that'll be stored on site. They've excavated for the pre-treatment building electrical room addition, and they demolished the existing retaining wall that goes in between the admin building and the pre-treat building. They've poured a base slab for the operations building, and they're working on getting one of the clarifier base slabs poured. It's now scheduled for next Tuesday, but they've been working on the rebar for that. So they're planning to work full steam ahead here through the winter, and they're hoping for good weather, which we've received pretty good weather so far. So hopefully that continues.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Andrew? Thank you for the update, Andrew.
Yep, no problem.
If there's no other discussion or questions, call the roll, please.
McCauley,
Yes.
Kirkland,
Yes.
Walling. Yes. Schott,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Okay, next item, resolution accepting the amendment to the solar lease agreement with Interstate Power and Light Company. This resolution would accept the amendment to the solar lease agreement with Interstate Power and Light Company. The city and Interstate Power and Light Company entered into the lease agreement for resolution 040521A for the construction of a solar facility on the city's brownfield property. After the agreement was approved by both parties, the city's environmental consultant, Impact 7G, was awarded a state grant to study the feasibility of carbon sequestration monetization in collaboration with solar facilities. This study would permit Impact 7G staff as well as facility and students from Drake University access to the solar site for research purposes. This amendment to the lease would allow for such access and study by Impact 7G and Drake University personnel. Need a motion, please?
I make a motion, we pass the resolution accepting the amendment to the solar lease agreement with Interstate Power and Light Company.
A second.
Discussion?
It's a great opportunity for us.
Get some carbon credits too.
Sounds like a good addition. Any other discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Kirkland,
Yes.
McCauley.
Yes.
Walling.
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to new business. First item under new business is resolution appointing newspaper for official publication and notices. In accordance with Iowa Code Chapter 362.3, state laws and the City of Perry's Code of Ordinances, publications must be in a newspaper published at least once weekly and having general circulation in the city. To meet all requirements, it may be impossible to print in only one publication with submittal deadlines, including the required circulations in the city of Perry. Therefore, it is recommended that the following newspapers be used for official publications effective December 6, 2021. The Perry Chief, the Des Moines Register, the Dallas County News. The following would also be recommended for recognition as media outlet for the city of Perry Public Service Announcement, PSA, the perrynews.com and Raccoon Valley Radio Network. Need a motion, please?
So moved.
Discussion about the official publications? It is. It is. If there's no further discussion, call the roll, please.
Schott,
Yes.
Wallen. Yes. Berkland.
Yes.
McCauley.
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next item under new business, resolution approving addition to the fire department roster. Fire Chief Chris Hines is recommending approval of Reverend Andrea Brownlee's application to the volunteer fire department. Chief Hines stated that Reverend Brownlee was interviewed by the officers of the department and is believed she will make a good addition to the department. Chief Hines also stated that at 34 members, the department roster was nowhere near its capacity and would allow for the addition of new personnel. Reverend Brownlee will also fall under the SAFER grant, which will cover the cost of her protective gear. Need a motion, please?
I move that we approve the addition of Reverend Andrea Brownlee to the volunteer fire department roster.
I'll second.
Discussion? I see Chief is here. Chief, did you want to say anything?
Reverend Brownlee approached me about this, and I was kind of surprised when she did, but she seems very interested and seems to be real gung ho on this. She'd like to participate both as a first responder as well as a firefighter. So we're looking forward to getting her on board and getting her outfitted and going with the department. So she's looking forward to it, and so are we.
How much,
Okay.
does she has to go through a lot of training before she takes her role, or?
We'll train her as she goes. We'll work with her as she goes, but she'll have to go through firefighter 1 and firefighter 2 training. And then, of course, as a first responder, she'll have to go through EMR and EMT training for that.
Do you have any physical testing that they have to go through to pass for things like that?
We require employment physical, and then they have to have a physical every 5 years for our work comp carrier requires that. So she'll get a physical. In fact, that's already scheduled. I believe it's the 11th of January is the date that it's scheduled for. They'll come in and they'll do 10 of our people, and she'll be one of the 10 that gets the physical on that date. And that's part of our every 5 years. We've got it set up so that we have a company that comes in from Minnesota that does our physicals. We got affiliated with them through one of the schools that Josh Webber and I and some of the other people had gone to. I think they called it a safety university or something like that we went to in the fall every year. And this company was there, and they provide a more thorough physical than what we can get up here at the hospital for about 1/4 the cost. So they come
have
in
to
and,
carry you up and down a 200-foot ladder.
yeah.
Be a lot easier this year.
We'll
You know well for yourself.
we'll get her broke in good on things like that.
One more question, kind of curiosity question, but also information for me, maybe for all of us. You indicated that at 34 members, we are nowhere near our capacity. What is our capacity for members? How many? 40? Okay,
Wonderful.
okay.
How much does the gear weigh, just the gear that they wear?
Just the coat and the pants alone are 15 pounds. And then you get an air pack on, you put 30 pounds on top of that. The helmet itself is about 5 pounds.
I was gonna say, because that one time that I came in and they outfitted me, I was just like, holy smokes, and then you're carrying all kinds of other stuff.
Yeah, you're.
And you gotta work in the heat too.
What you get gear on, so.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah,
A lot of work.
yeah,
Yeah. It's a young person's game.
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
We certainly want to
A
thank,
very fit
we certainly want to thank
person.
Reverend Brownlee for her service. Once again, we're fortunate that we have so many people step forward to volunteer for so many things in Perry.
Yes, it's getting harder and harder to get volunteers. It really is.
Yep.
So it's good when we do have somebody.
It
step
is.
forward.
It is. Thank you, Chief.
Yes.
Any other discussion about appointing Reverend Brownlee to the roster? If not, call the roll, please.
McCauley.
Yes. Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Kirkland,
Yes.
Walling. Yes. Schott.
Yes.
Okay. Resolution approving the Carnegie Library Museum Management Memorandum of Understanding. The Carnegie Library Museum is a viable component of the community and of the future of a successful and vibrant downtown by attracting visitors, promoting tourism, and drawing events. The Memorandum of Understanding would provide for cooperation and interpretation and limited operational management for a 5-year period between the City of Perry, Perry Public Library, and Fulbright Carnegie Charitable Trust, DBA Hometown Heritage. Need a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution approving the Carnegie Library Museum Management Memorandum of Understanding.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Mary, you want to talk about what we're engaging in here?
Well, this has been a long time coming. We've been in talks, probably September-ish. We started this and we met and we all agreed that the Carnegie Library Museum should be open. And having someone there and fulfilling a functioning responsibility. And that's where the library comes in as an entity that would be very interested in the goals of the Carnegie Library Museum and Hometown Heritage. Hometown Heritage, there's Dr. McCauley and John and I and Sven are on that board. And of course, you know, the library board and the city all talked about how we could come out and be better on the other side and everybody win with this relationship. And that's what's taken a little while to get there. So as soon as this is approved by the city council, then it goes to the library board on Thursday of this week. And then I'll advertise for a position called a museum library assistant that will be both employed at the Carnegie Library Museum and the library. They'll be cross-trained. I already have an employee called the museum librarian. So actually she works for the library too. So you can see where I got my talent. And so we've been in talks about, you know, what the function is, and we will start next week training, you know, how to open, how to close, where do you find all the materials. And we already have programming from a grant. Hometown Heritage got a grant from State Historical Society of Iowa, Inc. Of $7,500. They got another grant for $2,500 from Art on the Prairie. And they just received another grant from the Arts Council of Iowa for $18,000 for wages. It's an ARPA grant. And we have another grant out there that's the decisions on the 15th, and that is also a programming grant. So we have 5 programs planned for the spring in February, March, April, May, and June, looking at the 5 themes of hometown heritage and the history of Perry. Let's see if I can name them. Family, faith, loss, education, and work. And I'm doing the work one, and it's going to be about the pork plants in Perry. So the history of the pork plants. So I'm looking forward to that because I think that's one of our main contributors to our economy.
How many hours will that be open then?
Okay, it'll be closed on Monday. It'll be open from 10 to 4 on Tuesday, 10 to 4 on Wednesday, 10 to 7 on Thursdays and evening, 10 to 4 on Friday, 10 to 4 on Saturday, and 1 to 4 on Sunday. If I can get both positions filled. We're going with a week. The person I have already will be, we can man it or have it open during the week. If I find that extra person, that second person, then that'll do the weekends also.
This is a great example of cooperation between, you know, the public library and the Hometown Heritage Board and the city of Perry. You know, and it's going to be a great thing for our community to have the Carnegie open for people that are visiting the hotel and other people that come to Perry to visit. Having that available, I think is going to be a great thing. And I do serve on the Hometown Heritage Board, and so I'm going to have to abstain on this, but I want you to all know I'm fully in support of this. This is a great thing. So,
No, it's great to move forward with this.
Yes.
You know, I don't think it's any secret. It's been a struggle to keep the Carnegie open for some time, even before COVID, to get volunteers. And things. Now it hasn't really been open at all for quite some time. So it's really fantastic to see it come to fruition and get it open again.
Well, we're looking forward to it and having this series of programs, especially raising the awareness what hometown heritage is for a new generation of people that live in Perry, and what it is and what exactly our collections that we have, and also gathering more of the people that live in Perry right now, because that is the history of Perry being made.
Right. I agree. I think this is a great step forward for hometown heritage and for Perry.
I just
Thank
want
you.
to add one thing is that, you know, Mary's leadership and cooperation on this has been critical to it happening. Without her ability, I don't think it would have occurred. So thank you, Mary.
Thank you. Any other,
It's not all me, but it's a group of us.
any other discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Klein,
Yes.
Berkland,
Yes.
Collie,
Abstain?
Walling,
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next item under new business, resolution requesting an amendment of up to 30,000 in additional community development block grant monies under the grant contract 20-HSG-007 through the Iowa Economic Development Authority. The Iowa Economic Development Authority has remaining unobligated 2020 community development grant non-entitlement monies. The city's exterior home rehabilitation program funded under the contract 20-HSG-007 with HFDA has opportunities to make use of an additional $30,000 to complete the last two projects in our program, bringing the total to 8 homes exterior projects. Approving this resolution would increase the awarded amount to $284,000 and authorize the mayor to sign all forms necessary to execute the grant amendment. Motion, please.
I move we request an amendment of up to $30,000 in additional development block grant monies.
I'll second.
Discussion.
This is simply, you know, last week we had, or the last council meeting, we had an update about the program. And it is come up to the IEDA that they have extra dollars that they have to expend. We have a program that can adequately use those extra dollars for those additional 2 homes. So basically, they're saying we would entertain an ask from you. It's not guaranteed, but we're hopefully certain that we'll get it.
Good program.
It is.
It
And I
is.
think the homeowners have enjoyed, they've seen the results too. I don't know if any of you had the opportunity to drive by the homes.
Yes.
Yes.
I think it's one again that look forward to continuing in the future too.
For sure.
Nice to get those fixed up there.
Yes.
Sounds good. Thanks for the update, Mike. Any other discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Walling,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Berkland,
Yes.
Collie,
Yes.
Schott.
Yes.
All right. Resolution accepting a public utility easement and releasing the rights to the existing easements across the same properties. This action corrects an error that improperly placed a public utility easement for storm sewer facility across the properties located on the west side of First Avenue, commonly known as the Perry Business Plaza. The error has existed since 1970s when the Iowa DOT built the Highway 141 bypass. with the action of the city would accept the corrected proper public utility easement and release the city's right under the previous existing agreements. Motion, please.
I move that we accept the public utility easement and releasing the rights to the existing easements across the same properties to correct this error.
I'll second that.
Everything to add to that, Mike?
When we approved the plat of survey, again, I think the last council meeting, it was subject to basically correcting the easements for access and for this utility easement. This has been done now, and basically all have reviewed it, and it works for us. So that would be the last piece that probably exists for them to file that separation of those parcels, and then hopefully in the near future, start the new construction.
How could they get it that far off originally?
Jack, do you have any idea of how that happened? It's yeah.
It's waves.
Jack,
Dwayne, do you have any comment on that? Okay.
Jack, you probably
know
were in
that.
elementary school or something when this happened, right?
It just happened. Any other discussion? If not, call the roll, please.
Holly,
Yes.
Kirkland,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Next item, resolution approving an affiliation agreement with the Dallas County Emergency Medical Services. The Perry Volunteer Fire Department currently affiliates with the Dallas County Emergency Medical Services to provide first advanced life support and EMS for transport services to the Perry Fire District, and desires to maintain its state of Iowa EMS services authorization. This affiliation agreement would benefit the first response services of Perry Volunteer Fire Department from a training provider, experience, and administrative perspective, while also benefiting DCEMS with relief and aid provided to its services when cross-rostering staff, as well as the community at large, with the improved continuity of care. This resolution would authorize the mayor to sign all forms necessary to execute this affiliation agreement. Motion, please.
I move that we approve an affiliation agreement with Dallas County Emergency Medical.
I'll second that.
So Chris is going to update us on
I
this.
can answer any questions if anybody has. Basically, what this amounts to, and this is something that's been in the works for a couple of years, it's countywide. It's not just our department, it's every fire department that has first responders throughout the county is getting one of these affiliation agreements. In fact, it's the same agreement. It's fill in the blanks, your name here type of thing. So it's the same agreement for each fire department. And training, the Iowa Department of Public Health requires for EMTs to have 24 hours, or rather 20 hours of continuing education every 24 months. And Dallas County EMS will provide that training, and it will be to the public health guidelines on the specific items that they are requiring it to be in, so that their people, because they have to have the same training that we do, it's just because they're paramedics, they need more hours than the EMTs, so on. They'll provide the training, they'll train their people right along with our people, so that when they go out on a call and our people are there working with their people, everybody's trained the same, everybody's trained together, so they know how everybody works, they can work together well, and everybody's confident. It's all one team working together, rather than they show up and we're there and they don't know what we're gonna do and we don't know what they're gonna do. Everybody's working off of a different page. It puts everybody on the same page, working together this way. They're all trained the same. Our people are getting the proper training that they need, and Dallas County will handle all the record management on it, so that we don't have to worry about, hey, did I get enough hours this year to qualify to keep my certificate, or do I have to go find some extra hours? It's all handled by them, and if somebody needs some extra hours or whatever, they can contact them and say, hey, you need to get in here, we need to do something because you're short of some hours. So It helps us out in that way. They're taking care of record management, they're training together, we're working together, and it's building a better relationship for everybody. And that way, if, like when we had the pandemic issue, they come back with a short-term affiliation where they were shorthanded of people because of the pandemic, and that some of our people went in and rode in the ambulance and helped out with them. This way, everybody is cross-trained in that, and with the affiliation, if they need somebody to step in and work a shift on their ambulance, they're already set to go, and it all works together. So, any other questions or anything? Thank you.
Sounds like a good route to go. If there's no other questions or discussion, call the roll, please.
Watling,
Yes.
Schott,
Yes.
Berkland,
Yes.
McCauley,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Okay. Next item, resolution setting wages for part-time administrative positions. This resolution would set wage ranges for the roles of intern and administrative support. From time to time, administration and other departments will hire an intern to work on special projects to assist departments and for the student to gain professional experience outside of the classroom. The city has had several interns in the past. However, we have never formally set a pay range outside of the general part-time pay range for the position. City Hall will also periodically hire part-time staff to assist in busy times seasonally or for a special project role. Again, past practices has been to utilize a different part-time pay rate. If passed, this resolution would formalize the pay rates that have historically been paid to these types of positions in the past. Motion, please.
I move that we set the wages for part-time administrative positions fiscal year 2022.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
Have you met with Sven to set these?
No, I have not.
Vicky and I are on personnel, and we haven't been talked to at all about this. I feel we really need to talk this over with Sven before we just say, yes, let's do it, and he sets the wage. I think that's kind of our city council's responsibility.
Yes, and I'd like to be involved to know what the rates are gonna be.
I expected something in the packet and
No, there
Yeah, I
wasn't
didn't see a
anything.
thing in it.
And like Dean said, we are on that committee,
Mhm.
and we met just recently on another issue, but we also brought it to Sven's attention that we wanted to be involved more with stuff that's going on. I feel, I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, I agree with you, but the range of pay is included in the resolution, but I agree that there should be a discussion, so my motion
Can we withdraw your motion
and pass it.
table this till more information? Okay, the motion's been withdrawn. Is that all we need to do? Do we just withdraw the motion? Okay,
I move that we table this.
I'll second.
do we have a second to table it? Okay, call the roll. The table, the motion.
Doc moved to table it, Klein second. Colley,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Berkland,
Yes.
Walling,
yes,
Schott,
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
here, I thought you guys did.
Yeah.
Not a clue.
And if you approved, then we were good.
And we visited
Moving on.
last week and didn't hear anything, so.
No.
It's okay, we'll get it worked out.
We'll find out what they are. We need to know what they are. Ordinances. First one is ordinance amending the Code of Ordinance, Chapter 165 zoning regulations. The Planning and Zoning Commission provided recommendations that the following parcels generally described as being bounded on the north by former railroad right-of-way, on the east by Frog Creek, on the south by properties located on the north side of Warford and Lucinda Streets, and on the west behind properties on the east side of West 8th Street be rezoned from residential duplex RD to a planned unit development PUD. The area defined contains approximately 18 acres more or less with passage of the ordinance, it would amend the official zoning map of the city of Perry, Iowa to reflect the rezoning second reading.
I make a motion, we pass ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, chapter 165.
You might want to amend the rules to go ahead and do the third reading.
Oh, we gotta do the second reading first, just a second.
Okay, call the roll. We'll do that first then.
All right, so Berkland,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
McCauley,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Motion, we do this third reading.
I'll second.
Discussion. Okay, call the roll on that. We're ready.
hold on just a second.
We're too fast. And
So Berkland,
yes.
McCauley,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Now I think I need a motion for the third reading.
Yeah, I move that we approve the third reading of this ordinance amending the code.
I'll second that.
Discussion. Now we'll let Liz catch up, then she can call the roll when she's caught up here with us.
McCauley,
Yes.
Berkland,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next one, ordinance amending the Code of Ordinance, Chapter 3, boundaries. After the federal census every 10 years, cities are required by law to review the wards precinct boundaries in order to comply with state law. The boundary lines for the wards precincts have been drawn per the census blocks as required and as best fit to conform the previously established boundaries while complying with the law. As part of this process, a county auditor did review the proposed re-precincting map and provided no comments or concerns. With their review, and a public hearing was held to receive public comment. With passage of this ordinance, it would repeal and add a new chapter 3 entitled boundaries. This will be the first reading. Motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance amending the Code of Ordinance, chapter 3, boundaries.
Any discussion? If not, call the roll when you're ready, Liz.
Klein,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Berkland,
Yes.
McCauley,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
I know this has to be done by 2 weeks from now, but how about we do the second and third reading next time? Is that all right?
Yeah, next time.
Ordinance amending the Code of Ordinance, Chapter 125, fireworks. After much deliberation by council on the topic of fireworks, it was directed that staff draft a new ordinance to include prohibiting the use of consumer fireworks within the city limits. This ordinance would also provide updated language for permitting the display of fireworks for better clarify first. This will be the first reading. Again, like it says here, basically we made the change that fireworks are not legal to shoot off in the city or in the city limits of Perry. And also we did clarify the language about permitting display fireworks. Any discussion?
I have a lot of discussion. We are drafting something that
I'm sorry, we
cannot-
need a motion first.
I make a motion, we amend the Code of Ordinances, chapter 125, fireworks.
I'll second.
And now discussion, Jeff.
We are trying to draft something that absolutely cannot be enforced. Chief, if you would like to address this with us, I would appreciate that. But as I've understood your statements and your thoughts in the past, there's no way in hell you can enforce a law like this and keep everybody under control.
This has been a problem for years, whether we had legal fireworks or not. It's gonna be tough to control, yes. I think this is a step in doing it. If the council wants to ban it, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna work everything we can to try to enforce it. I think that has to come through. I think the last time we just had this discussion, we have to do several things, not only passing an ordinance, but advertising and do those types of things to make that try to happen. It's going to be difficult either way. And we're going to be fighting the same battle either way. But I think if it's banned, I think it's, you know, it's pretty universal, and you know, I think it'll go a long way to help.
What do you mean by universal?
Well, just because it's a complete outright ban. There's no, you know, this day and that day and that kind of thing. So
I was afraid that perhaps you were intimidating that it was universal across the country. And I don't think that's a fair statement in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. No, I just meant universal that there's no, you know, days here that they can use them, times here they can use it. It's just gonna be, hey, you can buy them, but you cannot use them. It's gonna be flat out. We're gonna have to do a lot of advertisement to help us with that.
I think we also talked about different strategies on enforcement that
Correct.
we can use, that we have used in the past, I think. And,
Yeah.
you know, a few people that get dinged with the penalty, we're just going to get around fairly quickly,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
And I think it's a pretty significant hit. You know, most people don't have, what is it, $300,
$250.
$250.
plus the $95 filing fee.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
a significant hit for most people.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree.
I think we're doing the citizens a great disservice. Fireworks have been part of the 4th of July as long as I've been alive, and as we know, it's my birthday, and it's a long time. You know, and when they're handled properly, they're safe and they're great fun. I put the blame for what we're talking about tonight on the residents of the city of Perry. This is not a problem created by city council. This is a problem created by the citizens that refuse to be good neighbors. It's not about obeying the law. They refuse to respect their neighborhood. They refuse to respect their neighbors. They refuse to expect the time and the places that this sort of thing is impossible. I hate for us to be sitting here passing judgment on all of those people, when perhaps there's a way to present a sales pitch, information and options that would bring some of those people or a good portion of those people on board and make them realize that it's their responsibility to have the right, if they want to enjoy fireworks on the 4th of July. I cannot just cave in and say, oh, to hell with it. We're just gonna ban it. I just don't think it's fair to the good people and the good families that do enjoy it and do have a good time with it and should have a right to be able to do that.
You know, I agree with that part of it, Chuck, that it's too bad for the people that were obeying the law. But the vast majority of people violated the law. And, you know, I feel no sorry for them, because they're the ones that brought about this, as you said. They're the ones that caused this to happen. And it progressively got worse each year. I mean, this has only been going on for like 4 or 5 years. And each year it's been worse than it was the previous year. You know, it's just like they just want to ignore the law, and they're infringing upon other people's right to happiness, people that are veterans of our military, people that have pets, people that just want to have a peaceful outdoor gathering with their family. They're infringing on those people's pursuit of happiness, which is something that's guaranteed all American citizens. So,
and Doc, I understand, and you speak very wisely, and speaking the truth. I would argue with you that there's a majority probably, in my opinion, of our citizens that don't understand what the law is. I don't think we do a good job of talking about it and getting that news out to the public. There's not many people that read the minutes of our meeting.
Well, I would disagree with you a little bit there, because we do a heck of a job
Trying.
giving this information to every tent that sells fireworks in this town. We publicize it on Facebook. We publicize it in the Perry Chief, on the Perry News. We give out flyers. People aren't reading, and people don't want to listen.
That's
To
true.
the ordinance.
Because
I think
the
that's what
society
Randy-
does.
Yeah.
It's not, no, I'm not
Yeah.
saying we haven't tried to put it out there,
Well,
but I'm saying we don't reach everybody. I think if we
I think
tried
that's-
real hard to get them aware that this is what's gonna happen if they don't straighten up.
What,
And I may be just narrow-minded and foolish, I don't know, but darn it, I hate to see this taken away from good, clean family fun on the 4th of July.
Dean?
Chuck, it isn't good, clean family fun when it affects everyone in Perry. There's a
It hasn't
lot of
affected
people
me.
that do
Don't say
not
everyone,
want to
because
hear
it hasn't
that.
affected me.
It
We don't have a problem in my neighborhood.
And maybe that's good for you, but if you're anywhere else in town, it affects people.
Well,
And
Yeah.
it affects them in a bad way, a lot of them. I think these people, there's a lot of cities that are banning these, there's gonna be a lot more. I believe these people, we've worked with these folks for 5 years and it's gotten crazy this last few years. Gets worse every year. And I think they can still buy fireworks, go out of town and go to a different town that's legal and fire them there. I think it's just,
That's just what we need to do, send everybody away from Perry on the 4th of July. That's good for business.
Well, right now, they can't enjoy the
Yeah.
July 4th.
I guess the Chuck, I asked you this question, then what is that way that we inform these people not to do it? Because we sat here and talked about it for months and nobody's come up with that solution.
And I know you're accurate.
Yeah.
But as I said before, how many people read and listen and hear what we discuss here? There has to be a better way to get the news out and get community conversations going and get education out there and get people talking about it in a positive way.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've done that.
Yeah.
But every tent that sells fireworks, and that's where all these people in Perry and the surrounding communities are buying their fireworks. They're buying them here in Perry. And they get a sheet of paper that says exactly what the ordinance is. They know full well. And that's just like giving a student a hand.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
There-
I mean, I understand what you're saying. I do, but darn it, it is such a part of our tradition in the United States.
We're not changing the tradition because
You
even,
are because you're denying them.
no,
That-
5 years
that
ago.
tradition-
Away from.
That
6 years
tradition has
ago.
only changed 4 years ago.
Yeah, 6 years ago, we just had the
5
fireworks downtown and we had a few people violating the ordinance or the state law actually at that time. So nothing's changed. We've just gone back 6 years ago.
We're not taking anything away that they had 6 years ago.
Well, my life has been different. We had fireworks that we shot off every 4th of July for all 79 years of my life.
But I don't think you had
From
the
the time
big,
from the time I was a little kid, we always had fireworks and we bought them locally. We never drove to Missouri to buy them or anyplace else. We drove them we bought them right here and we shot them off right here and we did it carefully and responsibly out on our farm.
But being-
Or when Katie and I were newly married, we did it in our
out on the
neighborhood
farm.
Yeah.
and
There you
carefully
go.
and responsibly.
The thing that I see, which every year gets worse, is they get bigger. And you're lighting these off in residential neighborhoods. That to me shouldn't even be.
So that can be addressed by limiting what
Oh,
the
they're,
businesses have the right
they're
to sell.
not, they're not reading our ordinance now. Well, it's just like you said. We
Only
got the
limit-
information out there.
Limit
It
what they
doesn't
sell.
matter. They're gonna do what they want to do. That's the problem.
I have more trust in our citizens if they're informed.
I
Well,
think we've done a
they've been
good job
informed.
informing them.
They've been informed, they just have ignored the warnings and the ordinance. They've just ignored it. And you're right, there's a few people out there that are doing it right. I feel sorry for them, but I guarantee you, 2/3 of them broke the ordinance. Absolutely broke it
And new.
and knew they were breaking.
Okay.
No, I just call for the vote.
You know, it's
Yeah,
just as
let's-
much my right, or my, no, excuse me, my responsibility to know the fireworks law if I'm gonna engage in that activity as it is for me to know the laws related to driving, if I'm not gonna drive. It's really the same responsibility, I feel. Any more, I think everybody's pretty much had a chance to share their input. Any more discussion before we take a vote? If not, call the roll, please.
Kirkland,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
McCauley,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Shot?
No. Okay, thank you. Having no other business before us, we stand adjourned at 7 o'clock. Thank you. Good night.
I didn't expect it.
Yeah.
But it just. They're all worth it, so no doubt about it. Probably more of them know than I realize. But we will see. He did stand up and tell us that there's no way to do it. Several weeks ago. And I hate for us to pass things we know damn good well cannot be enforced. Pardon? That's true. No, and when we were on Maringo Drive, we never had any problem. We were there for 15 years. We never had, never, ever had a problem. Yeah, so, no, excuse me. Yeah, no, I understand. I truly do. I just hate to see it happen. Well, no. My oldest granddaughter got married this weekend, so the whole family's been together since Friday afternoon. You know, and we had the party cars, we had a wonderful wedding, and just a great time. We got home yesterday afternoon. So I've had a phone call from my daughter, a phone call from my son, and Katie and I went out for lunch today, and I can't say the name of it. It's on University. Oh, of Waterfront. Yeah, we had. It's always good. That's one of my favorite restaurants down on University. Yeah. Well, 86. Yeah. It's been there a long time. That's one of our favorite places to go. We had an appointment with our financial person, Wells Fargo. Or not West Des Moines today. So we went there at 10:30, met with him, and then we went out to eat. Then we came back home. So, yeah. But the wedding was phenomenal. Our granddaughter's 20 months old, and her husband is 30. And so they're on tour. And yeah. You know, they know how to have a responsible party and have a good time and all that stuff. And he comes from a good family, and they both have good jobs. My granddaughter's a lawyer and works for a firm in Cedar Rapids, and he's got a really good job at Iowa State or Iowa University in Iowa City. He oversees all of their construction projects and make sure that everything is on time and meeting codes and being done right and so on. So they both have good jobs. And Emmy told us yesterday, she said, now don't be surprised. She said, we're going to start a family pretty quick. She said, we're not young.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so she said, we're going to start a family pretty quick. So but it was great. Yep. Well, we hope so. And we've got another one that's going to get married next year, probably. She and her boyfriend have been together a long time. So. Yeah, thank you. No, that's fine. That's fine. But anyway, we feel awfully fortunate. Both Katie and I are healthy. I think this is due, and we know who we are and where we're at.
Yeah.
About 70. Didn't work today.
I wasn't thinking you'd do it. Well, I actually probably had here, but, I was more on it. No, I was just like. For integration. Yes, I will. In fact, as I just said, I'll send you. Who knows? I think they already know. Oh. Okay. It's pretty handy. No, okay, you're out. No, it's been like classes that I told. And my wife, she booked us to Florida for a month. Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I think that she wanted to ensure that I was not, you were gonna change it. Yeah, that there was be no change in mind. So. I'll still be here. I'll probably be, I don't know, board of adjustment. I've got it all set already. So. And right now, somebody's asking for a map of some utilities on Keys, so we'll do that. But I thank you and thank you. For a fact, it'll probably be whenever the new person, so. He took a couple of it, I think some interviews, talked to some folks and then. Yeah, so it shouldn't be too long, it's gonna be 10 years. Can't replace him, right? Oh, yes, I can. Look, I'm good for probably 18 months worth of playing, and some of that will be legitimate, and but I won't care. We all. All right, we'll see you. I think no, I think all I have to do, other than key lock, I don't, just press the button and lock it. We're good there.
Here, Mike.
It must be Randy or somebody. You don't have to use it for a while. Well, I don't want to find out because I know, Rob. So I think I gave it to, I forgot what church, but. So you know.
Yeah, safe trip home.
All right, you too, drive safe. Well, it's just. Yeah. Well, they respond, it's just a different. Pardon me, get it done? Good.